folks, welcome back to another episode of the IMGPH podcast. And today we're very excited to introduce you and talk about the world of environmental public health as we host two of our GPH environmental public health superstars, Jordan Neisler and Hsin-Yi Chang. Both of these individuals are the personification of specialized yet well-rounded students who explored their niche within environmental public health, found and collaborated with mentors, and also contributed to awesome articles and journals such as the Wall Street Journal. We can't wait to hear all about you two and your journeys. Jordan and Hsin-Yi, welcome to the IMGPH podcast. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So,
Thank you.
Hsin-Yi, why don't you start? Since I've given a brief introduction of what you two do, I'd love to hear how your journey has evolved and what you two are doing right now in GPH and in your life outside of GPH as well.
Yeah, sure. So now I do my internship in GPH with Professor Caravanos, and we do the lead contaminated soil sample project. So we take a lot of soil sample. We use X-ray fluorescence. It's a very convenient and helpful instrument. Can get the lead level in soil immediately. Yeah, and we do have work with Susan, which is a journalist in Wall Street Journal. So we focus on old cable, which will have the lead exposure to children or older. And some of our results already published in Wall Street Journal. Then American is wrapped in miles of toxic lead cables. Okay. So it's very cool experience during my internship.
And then what's your major? When do you graduate? Which area are you focusing on in public health?
Okay, so now I'm a second year MPH student. My concentration is environmental science. And I will graduate 2024.
Okay, awesome. Some of you might be watching the podcast, and you might have already graduated at the time you're watching this. But as of the time of this podcast, Cindy has one more year to go. All right.
Yeah.
What about you, Jordan?
Yeah, so I actually just graduated this past May with my master's degree in environmental public health sciences. So exact same degree as Hsin-Yi. I got to work on the project with Dr. Caravanos this past spring. I was his course assistant for one of his courses, and through that, he invited me and Hsin-Yi on board to help with lead testing, and we collaborated with the Wall Street Journal on a big project, and that brought us to Louisiana to do a bunch of lead testing, and it's a great experience.
Oh, I have so many questions around that I'm so curious to hear about. So before we hop into the specifics of the journey, there's a lot of people that might be watching this podcast that have no idea what environmental public health is. So can you two describe this world you two are involved in of environmental public health? What does it mean? How do you describe this to people?
Yeah. I would describe environmental public health study on how the environment affects human health, including factors like air, water, food, waste, and toxin exposure. So environmental health aims to prevent health problems from these factors and ensuring safe and healthy community by managing the environment-public health relationship.
Okay. So it's a culmination of basically everything that influences our environment.
Yeah.
Okay. How would you add something to that, Jordan? For you, is there something unique that you see environmental public health in your eyes?
I mean, I think Hsin-Yi really hit the nail on the head with that one, but it's basically just like the prevention and control of like environmentally like related diseases that we focus on. So like lead-based exposures of like children, like water hazards, drinking water, and I mean like air pollution, like can go on and on. Really, anything in an environment that affects human health.
Anything in the environment that affects human health. And how would you two give me some examples of things that are in this category of environmental public health, but most people actually would have no idea that it's a part of environmental public health? What comes to your minds when you think of that?
I mean, my mind personally always goes towards like water-based health. So all of the stuff just dealing with ensuring like down to like the pipes that our water travels in are safe and they aren't coated in like lead because then they can pick up contaminants and like go from your faucet and like managing different water sources in ways basically like there's someone always testing our water supply to ensure that it's not contaminated so it's safe for drinking but also it's safe for just like using in our like toilets and showers and just like wastewater management in general. I think a lot of people kind of it's not glamorous so people don't think about it but it's like a huge part of environmental public health and without like proper management it would be a mess.
Wow. I mean, something as simple as water that most of us see on a daily basis around us in different environments has so much to contribute to environmental public health. I'm going to think every time I open a faucet now, I'm going to think about that.
Yeah.
It's
a lot more
what about you?
complex than you think.
Indeed.
Yeah, so for me, I would like to say the recent project we have been working on about the leak exposure from old cables. Because old cable which wrapped in the lead can contaminate like water and also soils. So people will inhale or ingest it. So but we haven't looked at this topic before. It wasn't be researched and preventing like lead painting. So now I really hope that the telecom company will take care of this problem with the old cables. They can deal with it properly.
Wait, so tell me more about this cable thing. I have not thought of cables at all. How do cables have an impact on our environment?
Yeah, because like old cables, they are all wrapped in the lead, like lead. So like after raining or something, lead will just fall down to the like soil or water.
Oh,
Yeah, and after like if the children they play in the backyard or playground and after they play and they will like just eat the soil and they ingesting into their body and they will have the leak exposure. They will have be test the level in their blood.
these are the cables that are hanging out for electricity?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like electric cables, but the ones we focused on in the project were telephone company cables, like very old telephone companies.
Yeah.
And so they're the ones that you see like hanging on the street, but there's also ones that go like underground and underwater as well that can like leach into the soil. So there's a whole bunch of ways to be exposed.
Oh my God. Wow. I mean, every little thing has an impact on the environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Take me to you two have given very unique answers to what environmental public health means to you, what most people might not recognize. What are some roles that you've seen people in this industry take on after they finish a degree in this, or people that are involved? It seems like every single thing around me right now is environmental public health. So what are the most common areas that people are going after doing this degree?
I mean, there's so many jobs, especially because our environment is like constantly changing and people are getting more active and like trying to protect it. So, I mean, you can go into government work, you can go into nonprofit work, you can go into like corporate America and do like sustainable like construction initiatives. So there's really a ton that you can do with it. I mean, what I'm looking at personally is dealing like with water quality monitoring and safety and dealing with just the impacts of like waterborne pathogens and how to prevent them from making humans sick, basically.
I'm curious to add, Jordan, what made you choose that area of water-based thinking in terms of environment? How did that interest you?
Yeah. So as someone who grew up in Florida right by the coast, I've always been exposed to water, and so much of my childhood was surrounded by water. And I don't know, it's just been such a key part of like just like my upbringing, and I've always been like very close to it. And I later found out when like the Flint water crisis happened, it really like sparked my interest. And then just the fact that here in the United States, where we have like everyone thinks we have like such developed like water quality standards and like the health standards, and like the fact that something like that can literally happen in our backyard and go unnoticed for years really was just like, okay, this is not just, this is an issue everywhere. Like this is an issue like in my hometown in Florida, but also like abroad. And so it kind of just like really sparked my interest, and I went deeper down a rabbit hole and looked into like different like health communication aspects, and was really interested in like how water is like so crucial, yet so many people don't have access to it.
Let's take it a step ahead, right? So when I first started this podcast, I was meeting a lot of people, and I realized I was expecting that people in the world of global public health are more in the field type of thing. And I'd been interacting with a lot of folks that were rather behind the computer, data. And what y'all are mentioning sounds very similar to hands-on experience. Where does the data come in? So is your world more hands-on, or is it a mixture of the two? What can someone expect when doing a degree like this?
I would say environmental science definitely focus on more outdoor practice. So we need to take sample in the field in different areas and use the equipment to test. It's like, for example, during this summer, we for the leaf exposure project, we went to a lot of different places, like including Wappinger Falls, West Orange. They are both in New Jersey, and we also fly from New York to Louisiana to take soil sample where we're exposed to lead because of old cables. So I will definitely say this degree is more outdoor hands-on compared to just sitting in front of computer.
Yeah, so a lot of you folks that might be interested in applying to a degree within public health and are looking into hands-on work, this is the one. This is one of the few degrees out there as well that has a lot of hands-on experience. Because surprisingly, data has a bigger impact, right? You'll have some classes that are heavy on data as well. So it shows that the numbers are important. And this is one of those things where I'm hearing more experience of hands-on, off-site projects, travel projects. And speaking of those off-site and travel projects, can you tell me about some of your experiences? You mentioned Louisiana, you mentioned going to New Jersey as well. What were some of these projects like for you? How did you choose this direction? Was it there? How did you become a part of these projects?
Yeah, so we went to Wappinger Falls in like just outside of the metropolitan city area, and then we went to a couple different sites in Louisiana, and so that was in collaboration with the Wall Street Journal for the lead contamination project with the telephone cables. And we both got invited on this project by Dr. Caravanos. He reached out to us, and we kind of didn't really know much about it before we signed on. We didn't really know what we were getting ourselves into, but it sounded very interesting. So we decided to help out, and definitely got some really great hands-on practice and met some really interesting people, and got to collect data and really just like put our degree to work, which is really cool.
I'm sure we will keep going to do this soil, focus on this soil project. But I'm not sure where would you go, where is our next step. I'm not sure, but just looking forward to it, because environmental science is environmental problem is everywhere. So
I mean, y'all had mentioned that to begin with, and I'm getting fascinated by how everything around is the environment. So we had a Professor Prince Michael on one of our episodes that will be released soon, and that was also describing geography and how environment impacts everything. And I'm thinking of that right now as well while talking to you too. you're I sense that there's a lot of you two have been so hands-on outside of GPH and within GPH. And I've noticed that there's after a while looking you folks up, that there's a mentors. You have access to mentors, and you found your mentors and had some guidance around that. A lot of people should take advantage of these resources at GPH in terms of finding a mentor, whether they're while they're in school or even outside of school. What was your process like in terms of locating a mentor for your personal trajectory? Do you have any mentors at GPH? Either one of you?
I mean,
Yeah, we do
I
have.
think Dr. Caravanos is
Um,
definitely a mentor for the both of us. He's like really
yeah,
helped a lot, just giving us
yeah,
opportunities like inside and outside of the classroom. His classes are very hands-on and project-based, which is incredible. And then we had the opportunity to do this project with him as well. So he's definitely been a huge mentor for me personally.
yeah. Yeah, so in GPH, every student will have advisors. So Jordan and we are very lucky because we do have Caravanos as our advisor. He always provide a lot of information about internship or job opportunity, and also he having us to do this soil sample project. So I would like to say I highly encourage every student just talk with your mentor, your advisor, your professor, and just keep in touch with them. And I think every professor will really willing to help student with their problem or the internship or job or works. Yeah, just through email or during office hour, talk with them.
So find the professor you'd like to interact with, someone in your field, and set up a meeting with them. Ask them when their availabilities, their office hours, if it interests you. And who knows, maybe you'll collaborate with them on a project and be taken to Louisiana like the two of you have.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to know a little bit more about how GPH has expanded your mind when it comes to environmental public health. So what was the day one version of Hsin-Yi and Jordan at GPH, and now how is the opinion around environmental public health expanded? So this is what you thought environmental public health was, and now you came here, and what does it feel like to you?
I would say GPH expands my mind through practical experience. So I very much enjoy my concentrations course like global environmental health and environmental health assessment, which both teach by Professor Caravanos, because in these two classes we not only learn the lectures but also have very a lot of practical experience with instrument like X-ray, fluorescence we mentioned before, and also know how to culture moles in our apartment is really cool. And I think that um, in GPH or environmental science concentration really can help you to apply what you learn in the class, and it will enhance your learning.
All right. What was it like for you, Jordan? So what did you sense? What was your thought around environmental public health when you started?
Yeah, I mean, I think just like from the get-go, especially at like global public health, the whole school at NYU, it really just like showed me how interdisciplinary the concentration is because like not only did we have to take like environmental health classes, but we also had to take like policy classes and epidemiology classes and like social and behavioral like health classes. And like through all of those classes, it really showed me how you can always look at it through like the lens of your concentration. So even when I was taking an epidemiology class, I was looking at it through the lens of environmental public health, which is really interesting. So you could always like tailor the classes that maybe quote unquote you didn't think would fit right into environmental public health, but they actually do. And so it kind of just shows you how broad of a field it is and how interconnected the world of public health is, and just how valuable like looking at those different perspectives can be, especially when you're researching.
Oh, lovely. Take me back to a moment where you joined first and you were looking at different classes with the lens of environmental public health. how have your interests been redirected since you started and found a new direction? Did you have either of your interests evolved?
I mean, I think I've gotten more and more interested in water health and sustainability and quality. Like, I already came into this program knowing that's kind of where my focus was, and I think this program really just like allowed me to grow my knowledge and expand upon that. Like, I was able to take a class at like the Tandon School of Engineering on waterborne pathogens. So it's just
Ah,
can really like curate your time to figure out like what specific niche concentration you want to do. So if you're worried about like air pollution or like lead or asbestos or water, you can like really hone in on that specific topic, which is really nice.
I'd like to piggyback off something you mentioned there. There's something really cool about NYU. You mentioned you took a class at the engineering school for water-based pathogens, correct?
Yeah, I did.
And that's that's so fascinating to me that people can come to a school like NYU and take classes at different schools as long as it fits within their lens. The fact that you're in the public health school, but you went all the way to engineering to try to figure out something with water-based pathogens. How did you figure that out? How did you find that, hey, I want to find a class like this? What was that process for you? Because I'm sure a lot of students want to explore the interdisciplinary aspect of NYU, where they can
Yeah.
go take something at the art school that impacts their degree. How was
I,
that for you?
I mean, I definitely recommend it. Like, I not only did it with Tandon, but I also took 2 classes my last semester with Steinhardt, which is like through their School of Environmental Education. So I kind of just literally looked at it's called Albert, what we use to sign up for classes, and I put in like keywords like environment, water, health, and I would just basically go down the class list until I saw a class name that looked like something that might spark my interest, would then research it further, and then I would ask Dr. Caravanos and then the department chair to see if I could get clearance to go. And all 3 times I did it, I always got clearance to go. So as long as you have like the information to back up like why you want to take this class and why you think it's going to be beneficial to your degree as a whole, they'll definitely let you. And I've had a wonderful time in all 3 of those classes and learned a lot.
The keywords thing is definitely a masterclass, and thanks for sharing that. That's going to be a great tip and an insight that most students don't know about.
Yeah, no,
Amazing.
definitely take advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm glad you took those classes. That's actually awesome. Hsin-Yi, how
Yeah.
is your interest grown then? Tell me, we want to hear about it.
Yeah, so since I have been involved in the leak exposure project with Professor Caravanos, I have come to understand that this environmental issue that is being very seriously recently. So, like both EPA and POS are working to address the contaminated problems. So as a result, I feel my interest in have grown in leak exposure. I
Okay.
would like to research more about it. Yeah.
Well, we've learned about where all of both of your interests lie and what's happening next and what environmental public health means for you. And I'm sure that you two have unlocked a new mindset for environmental public health students that are coming into GPH or are exploring this. I've certainly learned a lot and can think of what in the environment interests me if I want to focus on something in my own world. So I really appreciate you folks giving us the time, guidance, mentorship for how to get a mentor as well. And we wish you the very, very best on both of your journeys because amazing things are coming your way. And Jordan and Hsin-Yi, thank you for being on the IMGPH podcast.